virtually all relationships, all important relationships, are influenced and often changed by somebody who's going through cancer. One of the surprises for virtually everybody is that you lose some friends along the way and you make some new friends. I often suggest to newly diagnosed individuals that they consider making a list of people whom I think will be helpful and people whom I don't expect to hear from, and then just stick the list in a drawer somewhere. And they say, take it out a year from now, and you will have been wrong on both lists. And then people who you never met before, but perhaps somebody who sits in the radiation waiting room next to you, or a neighbor who has not before made time, but then turns out that neighbor had cancer or her mother had cancer, and so she understands and is appreciative. But friendships absolutely change, and the friends who can't be supportive and helpful, it's important to remind yourself it's not about you, it's about them. It's because that whatever their own fears or sadnesses or biases are about cancer, they just can't do it. And then at some point in the future, you may have to decide if that's a relationship you want to try to retrieve. Did it have enough value to you that you can open and have the, no doubt, painful conversation about, you disappointed me, you know, you vanished shortly after my cancer, and I was very sad and hurt about that. It may be worth it, it may not be worth it with any one friend to have that conversation. The family relationships, hopefully those people have not vanished, although I certainly hear from sometimes that they do. But cancer is difficult on families, obviously. Somebody needs more help for some period of time, can't do the things he or she usually does, needs the other people in the family, the older children, the spouse, perhaps, you know, parents who live nearby, to pick up some of the jobs around the house that are there, and that becomes wearing. Cancer has a way of identifying whatever the cracks are, you know, in a relationship, and it certainly doesn't make problems go away. I think most couples find a way to sort of stick their problems on the shelf during the acute part of cancer, but they sit on the shelf accumulating interest. And so when cancer treatment is there, the balance is larger than it was at the time the cancer started. I most certainly have known some relationships that came apart. I have heard a couple of horrible stories about somebody who drove his husband home after a mastectomy, you know, put the suitcase on the floor and then said, I'm out of here, and was out of there. But I have heard just as many stories about people realizing, hey, this marriage, this relationship, this person is really important to me. And what do we need to do to bring us closer together again? And then they find a way and they do it. But it puts the spotlight on both the cracks and the strengths that are there. And it's important to recognize that there are going to be changes, and it may be tough or it may be quite wonderful.